think that the purpose of yet another exercises between Belarus and Russia, and now this time with their air force, is quite traditional. And they want to create a point of tension, a point of pressure, a point of threat to the north of Ukraine, so that Ukraine cannot relax with regards to what happens to its north. It is forced to keep some of its troops in the north of the country, therefore distracting them from way more demanding regions of the front line. And that is why Belarus and Russia, or Belarus individually, conducts quite frequent exercises since the start of the war. Every month or so, there is some form of exercises of some branch of the Belarusian military. And this time together with Russia, but it doesn't seem to change the overall purpose. Since the beginning of this full-scale invasion, Belarus has been probably the most reliable Russia's political and military ally in the region, but also throughout the world. Belarus was the springboard for the original offensive on Kiev. It was the logistical hub and still remains a logistical hub for the Russian army. It provides its basis for deployment of Russian troops and for training of Russian mobilized reservists. Belarus also reportedly provided up to 100 of tanks, old Soviet tanks, to the Russian army, as well as several dozens of armored vehicles, and also reportedly some artillery ammo. Belarus has been providing its airspace, its airfields, for them being used by Russian Air Force. Belarus also provides medical treatment to wounded Russian soldiers, and even lately supplied the first aid kits to the Russian army. So effectively, Belarus does everything short of sending its own troops to the front lines in Ukraine, which makes Lukashenko quite a valuable asset and an ally for Putin, given the geographic position of Belarus. When it comes to assessing the chances for Belarus to have been directly involved in this war, well, this is not impossible. We cannot completely exclude such an eventuality where Putin actually pressurizes Lukashenko into full-scale joining this war. At the same time, so far it seems not very necessary for the Russia's war effort, because Belarusian army is a very dubious force to be merging with, because Belarusian army is not well trained, well equipped, well motivated for this war. Belarusian society does not support, by and large, this joint war or joining the Russian war effort. Which makes the Lukashenko situation in such a case quite vulnerable. And it means that for Putin, it is actually might be riskier to engage Belarusian army fully in this than to just pick up additional troops inside Russia by virtue of new mobilization waves. So from the logical point of view, it doesn't make a lot of sense to involve Belarusian army. It will not change the actual symmetry or balance of powers on the battlefield, but can destabilize the loyal and reliable regime that Vladimir Putin has in the face of Lukashenko. At the same time, logic is not the only criteria by which we can assess or predict Vladimir Putin's actions in this war. So I can imagine that in some future his calculations will change and he will actually try to coerce Lukashenko to join this war fully. And in this scenario, I would not actually make a bet whether Lukashenko will be successful in resisting those pressure or not. We shall see. It is very hard to tell right now. But Lukashenko will definitely resist. And then we will just see how big and how strong the pressure might be in such a case. But Belarusian army would not be a game changer for the war, but its involvement in the war might be a game changer for Lukashenko personally.